Please adhere to YouTube's selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during the video. All actions are performed by professionals.
Alright, so today I'm going to be drinking Pusser's rum for the first time. Pusser's is a brand of rum that was first introduced in the late 1970s to revive the then discontinued British Royal Navy rum ration blend. And to that end, they got their hands on one of the recipes of that blend and started producing it in their own facilities, to my understanding at least. And even today, they do indeed still produce what was the British Royal Navy rum ration blend in their own facilities. Although some of their rums do use a variation of that blend, including this one right here, which contains a more watered down version of it. What I have with me today is the Pusser's Blue Label rum, which has an ABV of 42%, a proof of 84, was aged for at minimum 3 years in charred oak bourbon barrels, and was made in Guyana. This bottle of rum cost me $25 for 750 milliliters, so not too bad of a price by any means, and overall, I am looking forward to giving this rum a go for the very first time today. I've heard a decent amount about Pusser's rum online, and I've heard that it is interesting. I've heard both some good and bad things about this brand of rum right here, and I've heard some people say that it's similar to what the original British Royal Navy rum blend was. And I've heard some people say the exact opposite. I've heard some people say it's not similar to it. I don't know. Either way, though, I've heard more positive things than not about Pusser's rum in the past. And so as such, I'm curious to give it a go and to find out just what I actually think of it for the very first time today. This has been something I've been wanting to do for a little while now, so I'm looking forward to this experience, and I'm also, just in general, looking forward to getting a little bit of an alcohol buzz today, I will acknowledge. I do suppose, without further ado, I should probably go ahead and quickly cover the packaging, the look of the bottle. Then, after that, I'm going to go ahead and get the cork all out, go ahead and smell this rum for the very first time, and once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and get it in a cup I've got with me today, and I'm going to take a sip of Pusser's rum, and I'm going to find out just how it is, what it's like, and what I think of it, and I'm going to let y'all know as well. After that, I'm going to go ahead and, well, drink as much as I want, and I'm going to get a nice buzz going, and once I've gotten my fill of alcohol, I'm then going to give you guys my final thoughts on this bottle, let y'all know what I officially think of it, and I'm going to give it a rating as well. But first off, as said, we've got to start with the packaging, with the look of the bottle, which, frankly put, is a lot of marketing. Of course, Pusser's as a brand doesn't have an insane amount of heritage. It's only been around since the, 1970s, after all, the late 1970s to be precise. However, they do have heritage in the form of what their blend originally was, as in it being the British Royal Navy rum ration blend of rum, and they really do try to push that with this packaging, with the look of this bottle, I will acknowledge. I'm like, we can take a look at the bottle itself, and it is just a stereotypical looking bottle of rum, frankly put. Just the shape of it is just stereotypical rum bottle, if you ask me, which makes sense because that's exactly what they're trying to look like. To a lot of people, the stereotypical rum is the rum you see in Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff like that kind of thing, and a lot of that rum was quite possibly British Royal Navy rum ration blend rum, and so it makes sense for this bottle to look especially stereotypical. We can see there is some gold plastic at the very top up here with a little bit of a stamped seal right there. Of course, this is just packaging, this is just plastic, but it's there nonetheless. On the nozzle itself right here, we can see just says Pusser's rum in gold on that red ribbon. Then on a blue background, we get a little bit of an anchor right there, really trying to exemplify the British Royal Navy aspect of this blend and of this variety and of this brand. And then under that, it says circa 1655. I don't know exactly what the significance of the 1655 date is, I will acknowledge. It's certainly not when Pusser's rum was first introduced into the market and when they started producing their rum. Instead, if I had to guess, it's probably when the British Royal Navy rum ration blend was introduced, but I don't know that for sure. Do correct me if I'm wrong. And we can see that this text, once again, is on a red ribbon. At the top and the bottom, there's a little bit of gold. Background is just blue, and rotating it around, we can see there's really nothing too much else going on. Moving on to the actual bottom part of the bottle, of course it gets a little bit wider. This is a stereotypical looking rum bottle after all, and we can see there's a little bit of a headstone shaped sticker right here in the middle. We can see there's a gold border going all the way around it, a little bit of red inside that, and then the overall background on the very inside is that of a, I would have to say, dark blue, almost sort of a purplish blue. At the top we can see there is a flag. Now, I'm not much of a flag person, I will acknowledge. I don't know a lot about flags, but maybe this is like the British Royal Navy flag? I really have no idea, in all honesty. I really have no idea. But that might be what it is. I mean, like, we've got the Union Jack, we've got the flag of England. I'll acknowledge, though, I really don't know what this flag actually means. But we've got that at the very top, surrounded by a gold border. Then under that, it just says British Navy Pusser's Rum, and then it says Ron and Rum, R-H-U-M right there, just some translations of the word rum in other languages. And then under that, it just says Original Admiralty Rum, which isn't really, I mean, like, this isn't actually like the OG, like, British Royal Navy rum ration blend, but I'm like, hey, whatever they say, it's marketing after all, of course. The British Navy text up here is in white with a gold border. The Pusser's Rum text is in gold with a red border, and then the other white text over here is just white text. Under all of that, it just says bottled by Pusser's Rum Ltd, British Virgin Islands, product of Guyana, which is a country in South America, and then just says 42% alcohol per volume, 750 milliliters, and yep, that's all that's going on with this sticker. Moving on to the back, we can see we get a market segmentation spiel right here. Lots of marketing going on with the back of this bottle. Once again, we get that headstone shaped sort of sticker. Just says Pusser's Rum at the very top right there in gold, and it just says in white under that, the superb rum in this bottle is blended at reduced strength in accordance with Royal Navy Admiralty regulations for rum in effect at the time of the daily rum issue. Oh, wait. Okay, this is, sometimes market segmentation spiels just read a bit weird, and this one is reading a bit weird to me. Let me go and try this again. It says, the superb rum in this bottle is blended at reduced strength in accordance with Royal Navy Admiralty regulations for rum in effect at the time of the daily rum issue was in effect at the time the daily rum issue was terminated on the 31st of July 1970. This proprietary blend has been aged for a minimum of 3 years in once-used charred oak bourbon barrels and chill filtered to further enhance its flavor and smoothness. And so, yeah, it's saying with this market segmentation spiel that it's blended at a reduced strength in accordance with regulations, but then it says it's a proprietary blend. So that seems kind of contradictory to me, but I'm figuring the regulations for the rum basically just mean like you're adding water in kind of thing, not more rum. I'm not exactly sure. It sounds like a lot of marketing to me, frankly put, which is exactly what it is. Of course, it's a market segmentation spiel, but yeah, it lets us know exactly what this is and what's going on, I do suppose. We can see some more information right there. Goes to white background down here. We have the barcode, imported by Shaw Ross International Importers in Florida, has a warning label, and yep, that's all that's going on with this packaging, with the look of the bottle of this rum. Yeah, overall, it's an okay look in my personal opinion. It really does look like a stereotypical bottle of rum to a decent degree shape-wise, but with the very colorful sort of labels on it, I think it kind of cheapens it a little bit and just makes it look I mean, like, when I look at this on the shelf, I'm like, there's better looking bottles of rum out there in my personal opinion. And I mean, like, other bottles of rum that have history behind them and stuff like that as well. I mean, like, there's Old Monk. I think Old Monk, it's got history behind the brand kind of thing, and it's a pretty legendary brand used by a military around the world for some time. And I mean, like, that's a pretty clean look if you ask me, but this one on the other hand, I don't know, it's not my thing. It's not my thing, I'll acknowledge. But yeah, overall, packaging is very marketing heavy, and it gets the job done, and I think it does the job pretty well, even if it's not to my personal preference aesthetics wise. Let's go ahead and see if I can get the gold up here off so I can go ahead and get this all opened up real quick. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. Just try to get this off. No, I'm gonna try to not spill rum all over me if I can avoid it. So let's see, how do I get this off? Am I just supposed to like rip it up, or maybe I should use my knife, or I'm not sure, honestly. Is this supposed to like just rip off with the cork? Like, it might be, honestly, it might be supposed to rip off with the cork. I'd prefer to just get it off on its own, because that's just gonna cause a pain in the future to get like the cork back on and everything like that. So I am real quick gonna use my knife and just cut that, if I can, just like that. Boom, perfect, no complaints on my behalf. I need to clean my knife. It didn't open very cleanly, but you know, it is what it is. I'll just stick it in the sink, you know what I'm saying? Probably shouldn't do that, But we can see the cork itself is that of a blue cork, and on the top in red it has the Pusser's ankle? has the Pusser's anchor sort of logo right there. And let's go ahead and get this bottle all opened up for the very first time. See what it smells like. Woo, that was pretty nice. That was pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Oh man, the opening on this bottle is a lot bigger than I thought it was gonna be. It smells... It smells okay. I'm gonna be straight with y'all, it smells okay. It doesn't smell like the highest quality rum in the world. But as it's been open for a moment now, it has started to smell better, and like when it first opened, I was like, is that chemicals I'm smelling? I'm not really smelling any of that right now that it's been a moment, but I was kind of smelling a little bit of that at the very beginning. I don't know if there were actually any, or it might have just been me, but stale air smells funny sometimes. But what I can say is that this has sort of a of course, like sweet brown sugar molasses sort of smell to it, of course, but it's sort of an earthy. Yeah, it's like sweet brown sugar molasses, but then it's got sort of like an earthy, like chocolate caramel smell to it with, I would say a little bit of vanilla in there. And, yeah, okay. It definitely smells different than rum I've tried in the past. I can confirm that. Yeah, okay. I would have to say smell-wise, it's kind of that of a, like, sweet brown sugar molasses, and still a sweet, earthy, and at the same time slightly savory. Sort of, like, chocolate, caramel, vanilla type smell. Anything else? Am I noticing anything else? There might be other things in there that I just don't know exactly what they smell like. I feel like I'm noticing more than what I've mentioned, but I just don't really know how to describe the smells. But there's definitely some sort of like baking sort of aspects in there, like baking spice type of thing besides just the vanilla. And overall, a very interesting smell, and a smell that, as I have had it opened, has become a lot better. When I first opened it, I was like, I don't know about this, but now that I'm really smelling it kind of thing, it smells a lot better than it did previously, without a doubt. I'm gonna go ahead and get the cork back on real quick, or actually, maybe not. I'm just gonna put this on the ground and hope it doesn't tip over. But I'm gonna go ahead and get my glass out. I have, of course, a very professional rum tasting glass with me today. I have what would be considered the national standard for taste testing rum with me today. This is a glass from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the NIST. It cost me like $200. I have a miniature Pizza Hut glass with me today that was not from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and was instead from a restaurant shop in Japan, and I think it cost me 310 yen or something along those lines. a great purchase. I love this glass, and it's amazing for taste testing liquor. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. And I'm looking forward to using it with what I have today. I am just realizing that there's some stuff on the inside. I've had it in my cooler for a minute, and I haven't cleaned out my cooler in a little while. So what I'm just gonna do real quick, I'm just gonna grab a little rag out of my backpack, and I'm just gonna kind of brush it off real quick, just get it all kind of cleaned up and whatnot, and just make sure it's all good to go, because I don't want to get anything icky in this glass while I'm trying to taste test something new. Don't want no dust in there or anything like that, so that's looking a lot better than it was to me. All good to go now, and I'm gonna put that back in my backpack just real quick, and I'm gonna go and pour myself a glass of Pusser's rum. And I think I'm just gonna start with that. If I want more, I can always get more. I'm gonna go and put the cork back on. There we go. And let's go and take a look at the color. The color is a very, very, very deep amber brown. Very interesting. A lot of rums have a sort of golden hue to them. Not with this one, though. I'd have to say it's more of just a dark brown amber sort of hue. Very interesting. And smell-wise, I mean, like, I think really the right way of describing it, I've tried, oh man, what was it? I tried the, I've tried one agricole rum in the past. It was the bourbon rum, I want to say. I tried that in the past, and this definitely has a sort of agricole, is that the right way of putting it? Definitely has a sort of agricole flavor, or not flavor, because I haven't tasted it yet, but scent to it. It smells definitely a little bit earthy, without a doubt. Like, it's got aspects that are pretty kind of, I would have to say, like normal for rum that you get from like Appleton or Mount Gay and stuff like that kind of thing. But it's also got aspects that are more from an agricole rum, or maybe it's a maybe what I'm describing is more of just kind of like a funk. Maybe this is more like a Jamaican funk or something like that kind of thing. I've never really tried a particularly funky Jamaican rum before. I don't know a lot about rum. I've tried a handful of them. I don't know a lot about rum, though, so of course take what I say with a grain of salt during today's video. But what I can say is that there's sort of a smell in there that I'm kind of like, that's interesting, that's odd, that's different. And it's a smell that definitely caught me off guard when I first opened up the bottle and first started smelling the rum inside. But yeah, I'd have to say the smell in the glass, very much that of a, yeah, brown sugar molasses, earthy, sort of chocolate, vanilla caramel, with some other sort of like baking spices in there as well besides just the vanilla. And there's just sort of like, I don't know, funk, a sort of like agricole sort of smell. There's just something else going on there in there as well. Well, I think that's just about all I had to say about this rum before I wanted to take a sip of it. So I do think, without further ado, it's time for me to go and take a sip, and it's time for me to find out just how Pusser's rum actually is for the very first time. Will I like it? Will I not? Will it be to my personal preference? I don't know, but I'm looking forward to finding out. Without further ado, let's get to drinking. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? All right, it is a little bit rough. I don't drink all that much straight liquor. I mainly do mixed drinks, and I haven't actually had a single drink in the last 7 days, so that definitely caught me a little bit off guard. Along with the fact that I forgot that I put the Pusser's rum in a cooler. I've got a little bit of a soda in my cooler as well, just in case I want to mix some of this rum into being a little bit of a rum soda and whatnot kind of thing. Got a little bit of Dr. Pepper with me today, but the coolness kind of caught me off guard, and then it was a little bit rougher than I was expecting as well. So I got caught off guard. And overall, okay. Mouthfeel-wise, right off the bat, it comes across like it's a light, slightly syrupy mouthfeel. Definitely a lighter, more smooth, mouthfeel than not. A little bit of syrupiness in there, of course. It is a rum after all, and rum is quite literally, well, alcohol just made from sugar, so of course there's going to be a little bit of syrupiness in there. But it's a very light mouthfeel right off the bat. Definitely a good amount of kick in the back of my throat, definitely a good amount of spice. And taste-wise, it's kind of just tasting kind of like it smells, frankly put. I'm getting a little bit of that sort of funky sort of taste or smell right at the top. Like sort of like chocolate after that. I mean, it's sort of like I would have to say like almost creamy chocolate. A little bit of caramel, a little bit of vanilla, brown sugar molasses, of course, as well. And I feel like there's probably some other stuff going on in there, but I'm gonna need a couple more sips to really be able to determine and to be able to say for sure. I feel like I got a burp for some reason. I've only taken 2 sips, but I'm feeling like I got a burp already. Excuse me. When you take very, very, very tiny sips, and that's of course what I'm doing today. I don't chug my liquor by any means. I take very small sips, but when you take a very small sip, if you're very careful, it's not too bad, roughness-wise. It's not too bad. You got to be careful when taking sips, though. This stuff is definitely not smooth by any means. I gotta admit, though, aftertaste-wise, it's... So in the aftertaste, it's interesting because that sort of funkiness goes away. And you're left with a sort of caramel, vanilla, creamy chocolate. And I would definitely have to say the chocolate is creamy. I was initially thinking that the chocolate was creamy due to the caramel, but it's honestly kind of coming across almost like a more sort of milky chocolate, which is very interesting. But I'd have to say it's very much that of a, yeah, like creamy chocolate with caramel, vanilla. Yeah. Like when you first take a sip, that sort of funkiness is in there without a doubt. That sort of funkiness is in there when you first take a sip. But as the flavor, the intense flavor from when you first took a sip dissipates and you get to the aftertaste, it is very much that of a almost, I wouldn't say milky creamy, but a just sort of creamy, sweet chocolate flavor with a little bit of dark chocolate hints in there as well. Caramel, vanilla, brown sugar molasses. And the taste does not like stick to your tongue. It stays on your tongue, but it doesn't like stick to it like high fructose corn syrup soda does, kind of thing. It kind of just stays there. It doesn't stick to it. And that is another thing that really makes me think that the mouthfeel of this rum is very much that of a more light, very slightly syrupy, smooth mouthfeel than not. And in the back of my throat, there's definitely like a little bit of a sort of spice. Sort of like a brown sugar, molasses sort of spice in the back of my throat, without a doubt. That sort of funky taste, though, it's throwing me off so much, and I just don't know how to describe it besides calling it a funky taste. There's just a funky taste in there. It's not like it's bad, but it's just sort of a funky taste. But the more I take a sip, the more I talk about it, the more I sip on the rum, and the more I talk about it, to say it correctly, the more I'm thinking that that sort of funky taste, quote unquote, is that of a extremely earthy, yet at the same time slightly sweet, dark chocolate. But then it's confusing because there's that other chocolate, sort of almost milk chocolate creamy flavor in there as well. So there's like dark chocolate, milk chocolate, but the dark chocolate is of sort of like very earthy, almost dirt-like, savory, like bitter dark chocolate flavor. And I think that's really what that funky taste is, and it was kind of throwing me off there. But very interesting, very, very, very interesting. Yeah. All right. I think I can say this rum is not really my thing. It's not to my personal preference. I'm just not really one. I don't mind chocolate flavors in my liquor by any means. Oh, I know what that funky taste is. Yes, I know what it is. It's like coffee. It's like coffee. It's like coffee chocolate. That's what it is. That's what it is. I don't like coffee. That's why I'm not really the biggest fan of this. Oh, that makes so much sense. Yeah, it's kind of like a funky coffee-like flavor. That's what it is. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, if you like coffee and you want to mix them in with your coffee, I think the Pusser's rum is going to be like the best for that, frankly. But unless you get like some, like what's like the milk liquor? I can't remember what it's called. Oh, there's a hawk hanging. It's a big hawk hanging out on top of a tree over there. Oh, that's pretty cool to see. I'm getting distracted though. I might be getting I've had like 3 sips and I'm getting a little bit buzzed. Yeah, that's what it is. It's sort of, okay, yeah, I'm getting a better idea. It's taken me a little bit, but I'm getting a better and a better idea of what Pusser's rum actually tastes like. That it's all clicked now. Yeah, it's sort of a coffee. It's sort of a coffee flavor. That's gotta be, yeah, that's totally what it is. That's totally what it is. Yeah, it's not really my thing. It's not like the Pusser's Blue Label rum is legitimately bad. It's not. It's decent quality. I will acknowledge, I don't think it's the highest quality rum I've ever had. I don't think it's as high of quality as, like, let's say Appleton 12, but it's certainly of comparable quality to, like, let's say Appleton Signature or the Mount Gay Eclipse. I would actually say it's probably a little bit better quality than Mount Gay Eclipse. But definitely, I mean, like, it's higher quality than Bacardi. There's no question about that. About the same quality as, like, let's say the Bacardi Reserve Ocho. About the same quality as, like, let's say Appleton Signature, stuff like that. But it is a $25 bottle of rum, without a doubt. But not bad quality. Nothing crazy quality-wise either. But even though it's certainly not a bad quality rum by any means, it's pretty run of the mill. It's pretty run of the mill. Even though it is pretty run-of-the-mill quality, it's not bad. It's not insane either. I don't mind run-of-the-mill, though. It's average kind of thing, even though it is very average quality. Just due to the flavor, though, it's not my thing. Like, generally speaking, I don't mind, like, average quality rums, just because I'm like, hey, it doesn't cost a lot, still tastes good, might be average quality, but that's fine, because I'm getting what I paid for. That's perfectly fine for this Pusser's rum as well. I just don't like the flavor of it. I just do not like the flavor of it. I'm not a coffee person. And this really comes across as sort of like a very funky, sort of like black coffee with a little bit of like cream in there kind of thing. I don't know. I'm just not really a coffee person. I do have a friend or two that do barista-ing. Is that the right way of putting it? And they've said that I need to like stop by and they'll make me a coffee that I will enjoy, and they've guaranteed it. So maybe I'll have to try coffee again in the future and see whether it's just the fact that I have tried coffee that's bad and that's why I don't like coffee. I'm not sure. But what I can say is that I don't like that sort of funky flavor coming from this rum. It's not my thing. I don't like it very much. And I think I can say with certainty that for the rest of the bottle of the Pusser's rum, I'm going to be mixing it in with like Dr. Pepper or with Coca-Cola or with Pepsi or something like that, because I am not drinking the rest of this bottle straight. It's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. Overall, to describe the flavor once and for all, I would have to say the Pusser's Blue Label rum is very much that of a sweet, earthy, funky, sort of like coffee, dirt-like flavor with, I would have to say, a slightly bitter dark chocolate in there. Then with undertones of a sort of creamy milk chocolate, a little bit of caramel, vanilla, and then under all of that, brown sugar and molasses. And that's very much what the flavor of this rum is actually like. Aftertaste wise, that sort of funk, that sort of coffee flavor really does go away very much. But when you really taking a sip, that funk, that coffee, dirt-like, bitter, dark chocolate flavor is very much in there. If the flavor I'm describing is something that you think you'd like, hey, you're probably gonna like this rum. If you don't like that flavor, you probably won't like it though. And the flavor is explaining so much of what I heard about Pusser's rum online, because I saw many comments and posts online talking about how much people liked Pusser's rum, and then I saw people argue in the comments saying, no, I hate it, kind of thing. That explains, it was like very 50-50. It seemed like a love it or hate it type of thing, and this makes so much sense because the flavor of the rum itself, I think it is absolutely a love it or hate it flavor. Either you're gonna love it and it's gonna be so much your thing, or it's not going to be your thing at all. If you don't like coffee, I don't think the Pusser's rum is for you. If you love coffee, you might like it, no guarantees. But what I can say is that it ain't my thing. That ain't my thing. But very interesting. Very, very, very interesting, without a doubt. And overall, I'm very glad to have tried Pusser's rum for the first time today. Now, we're not getting towards the end of the video quite yet. I got one more thing I want to do. I want to try mixing some of this rum in with a little bit of Dr. P. See how it is as a mixer, because that's how I'm going to be drinking the rest of the bottle. But I don't think I'm going to have any more of it straight. Overall, what are my final thoughts on Pusser's rum as a rum to drink straight? I think it's of average quality. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing insanely high quality. Certainly not low quality either. It's just run-of-the-mill, average quality stuff, maybe a little bit higher quality than your standard run-of-the-mill stuff. But not bad quality by any means. Mouthfeel-wise, it's a very light, slightly syrupy, smooth mouthfeel that does not stick to your tongue, but it does stay on your tongue. And roughness-wise, I mean, like, it's not horrible roughness-wise by any means. I've definitely had smoother rum in the past, but it's certainly nothing crazy. But it's certainly not, like, super smooth. I wouldn't say chug it by any means. And the taste is as I described previously. Yeah, overall, it's not my thing when it comes to drinking straight. It's not my thing. And for that reason, it's going to be having to get a 6 out of 10 as a rum to drink straight. From me, at least. For some people, I think it very well could be an 8, 9, or possibly even a 10 out of 10. But for me, it's a 6 out of 10. I just don't like the flavor. But how will it be as a mixing rum? Well, let's find out by grabbing my Dr. Pepper out of my cooler, if I can. And let's find out by mixing a little bit into my cup right here. First off, though, of course, I need to get the cap all out, or not the cap, the cork all out real quick. And I need to pour a little bit more in. You know, I'm thinking this might not be quite enough, so let's pour a little bit more in. Like, oh, that might have been a bit too much. We're gonna stick with it, though. We're gonna stick with it. You know, just big ball of moves going on here. And I just realized I haven't grabbed myself a thumbnail yet, so I'm gonna go and do that real quick. Well, hopefully one of those will do as a thumbnail for the video. We will find out. We will find out. But what I can say is that I am feeling quite buzzed right now. I am without a doubt feeling quite buzzed right now. I don't know how that got me as buzzed as it did. I've been, like, when I do drink, I've been drinking 100 proof. I've been drinking 50% ABV, like bourbons and whiskeys and stuff like that. So 42%, that's like 8% off kind of thing. But that got me a buzz. Probably because I haven't had a drink in like a week. But let's go ahead. There we go, there we go. Get my Dr. P all opened up. This is the bottle of Dr. P. And you know, I'm gonna quickly just take a sip. Haven't had any Dr. Pepper since yesterday. Delicious. Let's mix it in. No complaints on my behalf. And I didn't bring like a stirrer or a fork with me today, but I think we're okay. I don't think I really need one, honestly. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take a sip of my Dr. Pepper and Pusser's rum mixed drink, and let's find out how it is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? That funky taste definitely comes through a lot more so that you can really taste that funky taste. And I was kind of hoping, as somebody that is not really a fan of like that sort of coffee-like flavor in there, as somebody who's not a fan of that flavor, I was kind of hoping that the Dr. Pepper was going to cover that up. It's not being covered up, though. Yeah, I can still very much, I will acknowledge, I can still very much taste, now that I know what the undertones of the Pusser's rum actually are, I can still very much taste them through the Dr. Pepper, and I'm like, that was like a 1 to 3 mixture kind of thing. I'm like, maybe even 1 to 4 kind of thing, and I'm still able to taste some of the intricacies. It's a bold flavor. The Pusser's rum, it's certainly a bold flavor rum. Yeah. I mean, like, I'll acknowledge, it's not bad with Dr. Pepper. It's just, I can still taste that sort of funk going on in there. The Dr. Pepper certainly does not cover up the flavor to that degree. Yeah. But overall, I definitely prefer it in a mixed drink than I do straight. It's definitely pretty smooth in a mixed drink. Not the smoothest I've ever had, but smoother than not, without a doubt. And, you know, overall, I would normally say that it's a good thing that I can taste the flavor of the rum under the mixer, because I like tasting a little bit of alcohol in with my mixer kind of thing. Or, yeah, that's the right way of putting it. I don't know why I didn't think it was. I normally like being able to taste a little bit of the rum going on under the mixer kind of thing. Not in this case, though. Not in this case. I mean, like, I think as a mixer, like, to anybody who likes the flavor of Pusser's rum, I think as a mixer, it's going to be like a solid 7 to 8 out of 10 kind of thing. For me, it's a 6 out of 10 again. No, actually, no, it's getting a 6 out of 10. I was about to say Bacardi Gold is like my least favorite mixer of all time. It's so gross no matter what you put over it. But Bacardi Gold is like a 1, maybe a 2 kind of thing. Pusser's rum definitely deserves better than Bacardi Gold. Bacardi Gold is just so gross. And, you know, I think a 6 out of 10 for drinking straight and a 6 out of 10 as a mixer, I think is very deserved for the Pusser's Blue Label rum. And that's kind of my thinking. That's kind of my thinking. Just a flat 6 out of 10. It's just not my thing. It's not like it's actually bad. And it's not. I'm not giving it a bad rating. 6 is better than a 5. And 5 is in the middle, after all. But it's not my thing. I just don't like the flavor of the Pusser's rum. Maybe it'll grow on me as I continue to drink it, because I don't like wasting alcohol, but for the moment, that sort of funky coffee flavor, not my thing. And I don't like how it shines through as well as it does in my mixed drink, because it does shine through quite well. Yeah, if you like Pusser's rum, I think you're gonna like drinking it straight. If you like coffee, you're probably gonna like Pusser's rum if you like rum. And if you like Pusser's rum, you're probably gonna like it in a mixed drink as well. But not my thing. Not my thing. Overall, I can say with confidence. Somebody's got a drone flying over there. I will admit, though, I do think there are some sodas that Pusser's rum will not mix well with. I think it would mix well with Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and I think Dr. Pepper is another one it'll mix with as well, and that's what I had of today, of course, and I do think it is mixing quite well with it. But I'm going to go and finish this off in a minute or two, and I think that's going to be the video right there. Is there anything else I wanted to mention? Overall final thoughts? Would I personally buy another bottle of Pusser's Blue Label rum again in the future? No. No, I wouldn't. It's just not my thing. Now, there is the Pusser's Gunpowder Proof, which is supposed to be like the OG original, like British Royal rum, excuse me, blend recipe and stuff like that. Maybe try that. Maybe I'd try that because that's like the OG. They don't sell it at liquor stores in my local area. I haven't been able to find it, but maybe if I can find that, pick it up, try it sometime in the future. But the Pusser's Blue Label, no. I will not be buying another bottle. I will not be drinking it again. Not because, as said, not because it's a bad rum, but instead because I just don't like the flavor of it. It's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. But if what I described you think is going to be up your alley, it's probably going to be up your alley kind of thing. For me, overall, the Pusser's Blue Label rum, it's a 6 out of 10. It's a 6 out of 10. And I'd have to say, I mean, like, you know, the impressions I've gotten is that at least this Pusser's rum is pretty mid-range, slightly above average quality kind of thing. Especially for the price, I mean, like, not bad by any means. And, I mean, like, you know, just solid, just not my thing. Solid, but not my thing. And that's kind of my take. Pusser's rum, solid, but not my thing. I think that's the best way to sum it up, frankly put. Not my thing. I'm even procrastinating drinking this. Like, I don't want to waste it, but it's not my thing. It's not. We'll see if I end up going through this bottle particularly quickly. I might end up just bring it. I might end up bringing it with me when I go hang out with friends drinking. Be like, y'all want some rum? Just be like, here's a shot. Enjoy. Pawn off the rum I don't like onto everybody else. I mean, like, hey, it's a win-win scenario. I get to pawn off the rum I don't like onto other people, and they get free rum. It's a win-win scenario, and I don't feel like I'm wasting rum because it's going to use because other people are enjoying it. It's a win-win-win scenario. That's what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Yes, sir. But yep, that's all I had to my mixed beverage. And I want to say that's all there was to this video. Overall, I had a good time today, even if the rum was not my thing. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video today. If you guys have enjoyed watching this video, like and subscribe, of course. Also, make sure to be able to check out. I'm buzzed. I'm a little bit buzzed. But I had a great time today. And I hope you guys had a great time watching. And make sure to check out my Patreon, my book, my merch, my everything. All in the description down below. Go check it all out. Highly recommend, you know what I'm saying? You know. My social media. I try to keep it popping. Highly recommend checking out everything in the description down below. Appreciate y'all watching. To the next one, y'all. Stay safe and peace. And have a great one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying?